musical offering today, and I'm excited. Come on up.
Good morning. Humble yourself to the sound of the water. You got to bend down low and humble yourself to the sound of the water. You got to know what it knows, and we will lift each other up. Higher and higher we will lift each other up. Force of the sun. Humble yourself to the force of the sun. You gotta bend down low and humble yourself to the force of the sun. You gotta see what he shows, and we will lift each other up. Higher and higher we will lift each other up. Humble yourself to the light of the moon. Bend down low and humble yourself to the light of the moon. Shine in her glow, and we will lift each other up. Higher and higher we will lift each other up. Humble yourself to the spirit of the forest. Bend down low and humble yourself to the spirit of the forest. You gotta try and grow, and we will lift each other up. Higher and higher we will lift each other up. Spirit of love. Humble yourself to the spirit of love. You gotta bend low and humble yourself to the spirit of love. Gotta let go, and we will lift each other up. Higher and higher we will lift each other up. Humble yourself to the side of the children. Bend down low and humble yourself to the side of the children. You got what they know, and we will lift each other up. Higher and higher we will lift each other up. Higher and higher we will lift each other up. Higher and higher we will lift each other up.
Wow, my favorite singers are here today. Thank you so much. So perfect. What a perfect lead-in. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. May God's peace be upon you. Let's take a moment to turn to your neighbor and say good morning. Greet one another. Yeah? It feels good to recognize one another. I begin this morning in recognition of our spiritual ancestors, the ancestors of this land, the Rumsinaloni, and I greet and welcome them as part of our congregation today and now the seats are full. And I'm really grateful to be here again today and to have given you many talks. And it was something I knew I was supposed to do. I didn't really want to do it. I get really nervous, to speak in front of people. And my brain kind of shuts down with fear. And the thinking stops. And I'm not really able to retrieve words that well. My mouth gets really dry. Nancy's given me a lot of support there. Thank you. And it's not a state I purposely put myself into. I'm out of my own control in this situation. It's risky. It's not comfortable. I have done many things at CSA over the last 15 years, and our former office manager, Colleen, she used to call me Wren, because like the bird, I was like flitting around everywhere. And I was serving in many ways, but when I prepare a talk and I share it with you, I become a servant to my heart. There's a feeling of being in complete alignment with my purpose, in which I have to get out of my own way. I longs to be in that state all the time. I am a servant to it. Testify alignment abundantly, and like the butterfly effect in all areas of my life. That sometimes all I can do is simply stand and look at how it's all unfolded in amazement and awe. And for that, I stand here in deep appreciation. I bow down in humility. And for without you asking me, I could not be to come up with this talk. In preparing this, I asked, what does the center, CSA, want me to communicate to you? And it is this: there is a hidden treasure. It is already here, and it is ready for the taking. We may not see it physically. It may not be in our bank account. But today I will show it to you. But as always with me, I will take you on a journey, and I will follow and weave together many of the golden threads of truth, as Ernest Holmes called it. So, ready? Okay. So, we may be past the initial excitement of the season, but it is still spring. And spring is not a place we just mark on our calendars, it is a feeling. We are part of it just as much as every living thing. It impacts us physically, psychologically, and spiritually. How? Well, there's this buildup, this feeling of anticipation, of expectation, of hopefulness. There's a sense of looking forward, an excitement of possibility, the promise of change, of transformation. There's also this outward expression, a new energy, you have more travel, there's movement, new beginnings, new births. And this is reflected and mirrored in the world around us. Births, birds, bunnies, bugs, right? Baby deer, baby humans. There's the transformation, the metamorphosis of butterflies, of flowers coming into bloom, flowers in profusion. The air smells good, the stars shine brightly, and the birds are singing. And even though we have lost our conscious ability to understand the subtle languages of the earth, I can tell you it's still very much alive in you. And your body is listening to it and responding in synchrony with it. And the world feels abundant. It feels alive because it is. But where was all this abundance before it was made manifest? It lay hidden in secret below the surface in its most powerful form as potential energy. We sometimes call this pregnant potential. And yes, there's a goddess associated with that, many in fact, but my favorite is Celtic, named Bridget. And she had her greatest strength midwinter, Imbolc, February 2nd, in the northern hemisphere. And she's been usurped by the lesser god, the groundhog, here. Right. But in the earth-based spirituality of the Celts, it signifies Imbolc signifies that season of expectancy, of uncoiling, the mother birthing, giving birth to the earth, preparing to give birth to the earth. How do I convey the power that is Bridget? It's the power that lies in pregnant potentiality before manifestation. It is vast, unlimited, formless, rich in probability and possibility, pure, raw, unfiltered potential. My mouth is dry. Potentiality and potency are translations of the same Greek word. Aristotle coined it. In contrast to the word actuality. Actuality, according to Aristotle, represents an exercise in the fulfillment of possibility, when possibility becomes real, manifest. In early modern philosophy, English authors like Hobbes and Locke used the English word power as their translation for potentia. So Bridget is pure, raw power. Maybe like me, you can sense how much greater this is than actuality. I get much more excited about potentiality than I do reality. Yeah? A book's cover, right? Yes, you do buy books, for their cover. Yeah? The movie trailer, an idea. Once something becomes reality, it's locked into that form, fixed. Its probabilities become limited. Bridget is also associated with the fire and the hearth. Fire is a powerful transformer, but also pure energy. And the hearth, a metaphor for the heart. To honor Bridget is to clean the hearth and feed the fire. To feed the fire of the heart, wherein lies all possible potentialities, the source of strength, wealth, and abundance. From Rumi, the time has come to turn your heart into a temple of fire. Fire cleanses, purifies, transforms. When a forest burns, and when it burns hot, everything that has been made manifest burns until there's nothing left but blackness and ashes. Everything is destroyed. The power of Kali dancing on Shiva's corpse. And in that destruction is the ultimate creative potential and rebirth. Einstein said, energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transformed. It can only be changed from one form to another. It was a slip, transformed. It can only be transformed. So as I sat with this topic, I thought of the two phases in a human life in which our brains become primed for transformation, primed to welcome Kali. These are in our teens and when dying. In the teen years, according to the book Brainstorm by Dr. Daniel Siegel, it's not raging hormones that push teens into irrational, impulsive, and risky behavior, but a restructuring of the cortical architecture, coupled with changes in the dopamine reward system. So this means that reward, however slight in possibility, almost always positively outweighs risks. And it turns out this gives us a necessary evolutionary advantage to strike out into the world on our own and become successful adults. We have to take that risk. Likewise, scientists have found that in the dying brain, after oxygen has been cut off, there is this huge surge of gamma wave activity associated with consciousness. And it's reported in the paper from the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences entitled Surge of Neurophysiological Coupling and Connectivity of Gamma Wave Oscillations in the Dying Human Brain. Authors reported a dramatic storm of many neurotransmitters, including serotonin and dopamine. The article goes on to say that there is an intense synchronization of brainwaves, a state associated with many cognitive functions, including heightened attention and memory. Scientists also can detect increases in activity in areas associated with empathy, vivid dreaming, and memory that corroborate and validate near-death reports of out-of-body sensations, visions of light, feelings of joy and serenity, and moral reevaluations of one's life. This means that the brain is actually more alive in death. So I'm reminded of a story. I always am. One of the greatest ever written, and one you haven't heard since high school, the story of Beowulf. So yesterday, I get to read to you from Beowulf, and the translation is Irish by Seamus Heaney. This is the part of the story that most people don't remember. So most people do remember that Beowulf, as a young, invincible Geat warrior, the teenager, travels from the distant land of Sweden to rescue the Danes from their mortal foe, the man-eating swamp monster Grendel, and his horrible mother. But many people remember that Beowulf is eventually made king of the Geats years as their lord and protector. But like most of us must, Beowulf dies. And he does so in the most glorious way, fighting a dragon that guards a vast hoard. So this was the inspiration for my talk and the original title, which was The Dragon's Hoard. My other title, which I think really got to the point, was Get Rich Quick. But Sandy didn't like that one. So. Anyway, back to the story. Beowulf is very old when he goes to meet the dragon. After the kingdom was passed to him at about 30 years of age, he ruled for 50 winters. And the dragon had laid hidden, sleeping undisturbed for centuries, guarding a forgotten and ancient cache from a highborn race. A thief finds the cache and steals a cup and thus awakens the dragon. The dragon began to belch out flames and burn bright homestead. There was a hot glow that scared everyone, for the vile Skywinger would leave nothing alive in his wake. Everywhere the havoc he wrought was in evidence. Far and near, the Geat nation bore the brunt of his brutal attacks and virulent hate. Then back to the Hoard he would dart before daybreak to hide in his den. He had singed the land, swathed it in flame, in fire and burning, and now he felt secure in the vaults of his barrow. But his trust was unavailing. So Beowulf knew that he once again must go out and protect his people, and he also knew he had the foreknowledge of that this would mean his death. So back to the dragon. The one who stood guard was dangerous and watchful, warden of his trove, buried under the earth. No easy bargain would be made in that place for any man. The veteran king sat down on the cliff top. He wished good luck to the Geats who had shared in his hearth and his gold. He was sad at heart, unsettled yet ready, sensing his death. His fate hovered near, unknowable but certain. It would soon claim his coffered soul, part life from limb, Before long, the prince's spirit would spin free from his body. The battle was long and fierce, with Beowulf barely gaining ground. With every strike of his sword, he could not penetrate the scales of the dragon. And then the dragon's poisonous breath scorched him on his fighting hand. And he gathered his strength and struck deep into the dragon's flank, dealing a deadly blow. But the wound the dragon had given to Beowulf began to scald and to swell. And Beowulf knew that the deadly poison was now inside of him. And Beowulf spoke. In spite of his wounds, mortal wounds, he spoke. For he well knew his days in the world had been lived out to the end. His allotted time was drawing to a close. Death was very near. And at his dying, he chooses only to gaze on the treasure. To gaze my fill on those garnered jewels, my going will be easier, for having seen the treasure, a less troubled letting go of life and lordship I have long maintained. A treasure trove of astonishing richness, wall hangings that were a wonder to behold, glittering gold spread across the ground, the old dawn scorching the serpent's den, packed with goblets and vessels from the past, tarnished and corroding, rusty helmets all eaten away, armbands everywhere, artfully wrought. How easily treasured, buried in the ground, gold hidden, however skillfully, can escape from any man. And he saw, too, a standard entirely of gold hanging high over the hoard, a masterpiece of filigree. It glowed with light, so he could make out the ground at his feet and inspect the valuables. And then Beowulf says, "To the everlasting Lord of all, to the King of glory, I give thanks that I behold this treasure here in front of me, that I have been allowed to leave my people so well endowed on the day I die. Now that I have bartered my last breath to own this fortune, it is up to you to look after their needs. Fate has swept us away, sent my whole brave, high-born clan to their final doom, and now I must follow them." And he dies. What can we make of the metaphysical meaning of this text? So let's start with the part where Beowulf says, with his dying brain, how easily treasured buried in the ground, gold hidden, however skillfully, can escape from any man. And he says this not as a question, but as an exclamation. In shock and astonishment, really, as in, how did we ever miss this? How could we not see this before? I mean, think of it, his position. Here he was all this time, and it was right under the feet of his people, literally under the ground beneath them, under their homes, under their hearths, and they're under their most intimate spaces lay this immense untold wealth. How could they miss that? And given it was protected and it wasn't easy to see, it was not easy to free, Beowulf had to battle the dragon who guarded it, a dragon that breathes poisonous gas and has armored plates that no metal can penetrate. If one is scratched or scorched by it, they suffer a slow but sure and painful death. So, for a metaphysical standpoint, I borrow from the rich tapestry of dragon lore and meaning. Dragons serve many functions, metaphorically, and in storytelling, they are either slain or tamed. Either way, and it's told this way time and time again, on our heroes and journey in life, we must face the dragon and liberate the Hoard. It is the year of the dragon. So now is the perfect time for you to do this. And in the Mind Shop, Maria and I have been a little crazy for dragons. So when you visit for our sale today, you'll see them peeking at you from everywhere. So what is the dragon? The dragon is our ego construct that has guarded and protected us so very well. It's very old, And some of us have brought it with us from past lives. Probably, yes. Probably it's collectively ours, right? But for sure, it started guarding us when we were children, ensuring our survival. And it is beautiful. It's awesome. It's powerful. And it's deadly. For it keeps us believing in our limitation, believing in fear, believing in lack, believing we have to hoard our money, our possessions, our love, our time, ourselves, our passions, believing we are all alone. It keeps us safe. It keeps us from taking risks. It dulls cortical functioning, lowers gamma wave oscillations, that is brain activity, lowers dopamine, lowers the pleasure in life. Remember, until the thief stole the cup, the dragon was asleep for a long time, from the time of the ancients, a time of the highborn race. The dragon, our ego, protects, but it also blocks us, right? Hides from us the greatest hidden treasure of all, one that is right here in our hearts. The power that is Bridget, unlimited, pure potential, ready and willing to be made manifest. God in you. God in form as you. Ernest Holmes, founder of religious science, speaks pretty plainly about this power. We have within us a power that is greater than anything we shall ever contact in the outer, a power that can overcome every obstacle in our life and set us safe, satisfied, and at peace, healed and prosperous in a new light, in a new life. And all the power of the universe is with you. Feel it, know it, and then act as though it were true. And there is a power around you that knows and that understands all things. This power works like the soil. It receives the seed of your thought and at once begins to operate upon it. It will receive whatever you give to it and will create for you and throw back at you whatever you think into it. And there is a power in the universe that is greater than you, and you can use it. Okay. So now, how do I take on a dragon? How do we take on a dragon and release the hidden treasure, my life's purpose, the power of the universe in me? How does CSA do this? Well, the answer differs by a matter of scale, the personal versus the collective. They really are the same, but I must explain it using different words because our brains are conditioned to understand separations of these concepts. For both, I can say it is hidden in plain sight. Think of the astonishment and shock of Beowulf finally beholding the treasure. It was right there the whole time. So let's do the first part first. First, the personal, uncovering the treasure, hidden treasure within. We certainly can't be teenagers again in this lifetime. And the good news is that we don't have to wait to die to liberate the dragon. We have the capacity to transform our brains at any time. Anything that gives you pleasure will trigger a release of dopamine, like listening to music, singing, eating healthy, sex, getting lots of sleep, praying, meditating. Also, shopping, Facebook, alcohol, and drugs. Dopamine activates the desire of these activities more. For this reason, dopamine can lead to addiction. So this tells me that there are two paths. There's two paths to transformation. There, slaying the dragon or befriending it. The first is painful, but sure, like burning down the forest. It requires total sacrifice of everything. It's often called hitting rock bottom, and that path is forged by addiction, jail time, horrible sickness, devastating and tragic loss. Sometimes it feels like that path chooses you. In Hinduism, this is depicted as Kali killing Shiva and cutting off his head. Her fury cannot be contained. It is beyond all reason and has picked up such momentum that nothing can stop her. And when her lover, in love with her, comes and approaches her in so much gentleness, she cannot stop the wave of fury, and she cuts off his head before she realizes what has happened. She doesn't know until she stands above him, standing. And with her breath, she brings him back to life. So on this path, you must bring him back to life after you've killed everything dear to you, if it doesn't kill you first. I will go back to that old picture just real quick. I want to comment on that, how joyful these pictures are, these old traditional pictures for something so morbid, so happy. So now, thank you. On the other path, taming the dragon, it's slower and not as sure. It requires that you constantly and vigilantly tend the hearth, cleaning out everything that is not love. It is the path of radical acceptance, faith, and surrender, letting go of doing, of being, letting go of you. You free the dragon from its responsibility of protecting you and identify as the Hoard, as the golden standard, the sword that lights the cavern in the story of Beowulf, as God, as the universe. Turn your heart into a temple of fire. When this is you, you no longer need the dragon. There is nothing that needs protecting. The word I think of is Islam, which means surrender. Surrender is the last step in affirmative prayer, what Ernest Holmes calls treatment. After putting the word into the unified field, release and let go. And let go and trust in God. Let go and let God, people say. Trust, it is already done. Surrender. Another good word for this is yoga, which comes from the Sanskrit word yug, which means to yoke or to unite in oneness. Mary, the next slide, Mother Teresa, yeah. Mary, give me your heart. Give me your heart. So beautiful, so pure, so immaculate. Your heart so full of love and humility that I may be able to receive Jesus, the bread of life. St. Francis said, God, make me an instrument. So now for the second part of the question, how does CSA release its hidden treasure? In the Ohlone tradition, it is said that wealth is not measured by possessions, by money. Having lots of possessions was seen as an aberration, degeneracy, a sickness, a disease. Survival, you see, depends on sharing equally. Chiefs were chosen for their generosity. So when the Spaniards went to see the most important person in the village, they found them in the lowliest of huts. Among the Ohlone, wealth and status were measured by only one thing: connections. It was those who had helped the most people, those who had served, those who had first. That's where true wealth was. True wealth was in connection, is in connections. It would be really easy to misunderstand and the complexity of this interaction. As Westerners, it's very hard for us to get it. The first Europeans certainly didn't, and we haven't gotten much further along in our understanding because we are their descendants, and that is the mindset that we know. And it doesn't mean this. It doesn't mean the starving ascetic or someone that is expected to serve others for free. It doesn't mean seva. The relationship is reciprocal. It's a symbiosis. The chief was very well cared for, well loved, well respected, and incredibly valuable, the first among the people, precisely because they had forged deep bonds of connection through acts of great service in their community. The people do whatever it takes to care for and protect them. This powerful and mutually beneficial model for wealth and stability, borrowed from ancient native knowledge, is coming back today across all of the business world. It is well defined in the literature, and it's called servant leadership. It is like this. Think of all of us in this community that we call CSA like a garden full of the most delicious and nourishing foods. Sure, the food will grow on its own, likely, but it's also going to be really patchy and disorganized, uncoordinated, the plants competing for space and light and water. But if someone tends to the garden daily, cares for it with love, coaxes it, sings to it, pulls the weeds, picks off the bugs, spaces out the rows, waters evenly and dependably, it will produce abundantly and richly. And those that tend it will be well fed, and they will be healthy, and they will never want for anything. Weed and water. Clean the hearth, tend the flame. There's this hand game I do with the kids, or I always did when I was young, right? You probably know it. Here is the church. Here is the steeple. Open the doors, and here are the people. Right? You can do it with me. This is the church. Here is the church. Yeah? Here are the people. A church is its people. That's it. There's nothing else. CSA is its people. That's the heart. In serving the community first, above all else, tending it carefully, gently, lovingly, and generously, giving everyone light and space to grow and to bloom, offering them sustenance and safety and acceptance, and tending to every hearth, every flame, like CSA has done for me. What a wonder to behold. It is already here. This awesome treasure God made manifest in all of you. It's as Beowulf said, to the everlasting Lord of all, to the King of glory, I give thanks that I behold this treasure here in front of me. It is spring. This is a new beginning. For the taking. The treasure is in serving the heart of CSA. The treasure is in serving your heart, following your passions, your bliss, living ecstatically, joyfully. This is the real wealth, and with it, unlimited prosperity, unlimited security, true stability, unending abundance. Cash in your inheritance now. The only question is, what are you waiting for, butterfly? Yeah? My closing today, I chose this song as a prayer, or maybe I'm going to pray in song, and you're going to help me. This makes me nervous too. The words are by Victor Hugo. Be like a bird who, pausing in her flight on a limb too slight, feels a give way beneath her, yet sings, knowing she has wings. I'll sing it once, and then you'll join me. And you'll join me, Nancy. And you'll join me. Okay. It goes like this. Be like a bird who, pausing in her flight on a limb too slight, feels it give way beneath her, yet sings, knowing she has wings. Sings, knowing she has wings. Be like a bird who, pausing in her flight on a limb too slight, feels it give way beneath her, yet sings, knowing she has wings. Sings, knowing she has wings. Be like a bird who, pausing in her flight on a limb too slight, feels it give way beneath her, yet sings, knowing she has wings. Sings, knowing she has wings. Be like a bird who, pausing in her flight on a limb too slight, feels it give way beneath her, yet sings, knowing she has wings. Sings, knowing she has wings.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Cynthia Johnson Bianchetta. Thank you, Reverend Karen. Wasn't that wonderful to hear from you? Being in ministry class with you and just watching and seeing this amazing, you were there already, but every time you step up here and give us a talk, you were meant for this. So thank you for hearing the call. Thank you for coming, and all that you spoke of that prepares you to be here, all the nervousness, all the dry mouth, all the everything that we all experience, by the way. Thank you for getting yourself here and giving to us in this way. Is this for right now? Yeah. Okay. So I think we missed you when we were celebrating junior church, and we had a little something made for you. Nancy and I would have presented it to you had you been here, so come on up. This is a little thank you and an acknowledgement that says, Reverend Karen, we love and appreciate you. And it says, Spring Eternal, CSA.
Perfect.
CSA's heart. You want to say anything about junior
Thank you. Well, this says it all. This is perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, from CSA's heart to your heart. So this is our time of conscious giving. This is a time where we get to give back to this community that gives so much to us. We're giving back to the, did I do that right? To the, yeah, you know what I'm saying. We're giving back to this. And aren't we fortunate indeed to be here each Sunday, to be with each other, to remember the truth of our being. So as we remember this, we also remember that we
Good
can
morning, Reverend
receive
Cynthia
of all
Johnson,
this, and we can
Kenneth.
also give back.
Thank
So
you,
this
Reverend
is time of
Karen.
conscious giving. Will the
Wasn't that
ushers please
wonderful
come
to hear
forth?
from you? Being in ministry
As you prepare your
class with
your,
you and just watching
your gift, there are
and seeing this
little envelopes on the
amazing-
back of the
You were
chairs.
there already.
And
You were there already,
you
but
can
every
give
time you
online.
step up here and give us the
And
talk.
some of you are already
you
giving
were meant
online,
for
so we
this.
thank you for
So
that.
Thank you for hearing the call.
Let's
Thank
turn
you for coming
within.
and
Once again,
all that you
if you,
spoke of that
I
prepared me
invite
to
you,
be
if
here,
you
all the
will, to close your
nervousness, all
eyes,
the dry mouth, all the
possibly
everything
touch in
that
with
we
your heart.
experience, by the way.
As we enter into, as Karen called it, the heart of CSA, that place within us that we all know the oneness of this universe that is flowing in and through each and every one of us. We know that this presence is our divine sustenance. We know it's this presence that gives to all life. We see it in nature. We see it in the beauty of the sunrises every morning and the sunsets. We see it in the moon and the stars lighting our way in the darkest of nights. We know, we trust that this universal presence is at one with us as we are at one with it. So there's no separation. We embody it, we know it, it is the truth of our being. And because of that, we know that it is our source. It's the source of all life. It's the source of everything that is a blessing in our life. And as we look back on our lives, we feel and count the numerous blessings that have led us to this moment, to be here in this center with each other, celebrating the love of God, Goddess, beloved friend, that internal place in our hearts where we know the divine exists. And so we know that as we give forth, that it's no person, place, or thing that's giving to us. It's really that divine source that gives to us. And through persons and places and things. But the one source is already within, giving to us. And so we generously give forth from this place, knowing in our hearts that CSA is supported by the love of this blessed community. And we release this prayer treatment, knowing it's already so, saying, thank you, Father, Mother, God, for all of our many blessings and for the blessing of CSA. And so be it, and so it is. And as the ushers pass the baskets, we'll hear some meditation music that you can continue to feel deeply into. Talk today, as well as these meditative moments within. We know that this presence is our divine sustenance. We know it's this presence that gives life. We see it in nature. We see it in the beauty of the sunrises every morning and the sunsets. We see it in the moon and the stars lighting our way in the darkest of nights. We know, we trust that this universal presence is at one with us as we are at one with it. So there's no separation. We embody it, we know it, it is the truth of our being. And because of that, we know that it is our source. It's the source of all life. It's the source of everything that is a blessing in our life. And as we look back on our lives, we feel and count the numerous blessings that have led us to this moment, to be here in this center with each other, celebrating the love of God, Goddess, beloved friend. Thank you so much for your gifts this morning and the gifts of your music. Thank you for gracing us and honoring with this beautiful group that recently got put together, maybe, by Nancy? A group of old friends and Heather. Thank you. So let's say our affirmation together for our abundance from John Randolph Price today. My inner supply instantly and constantly takes on form and experience according to my needs and desires, and as the principle of supply in action. It is impossible for me to have any needs or unfulfilled desires. Thank you. I'd like to mention that we have a treatment box in the back of the room. If you'd like to place treatment requests there, I will pick them up, or some of our other ministers will pick them up, take them home for you, and treat for you. Also, I will be available after service through the meditation room here, offering prayer treatments. Anything that's happening for you in your heart, your mind, your spirit, your soul, your emotions, just bring it, and we'll treat for it in the moment and see what Spirit has to say about that. Okay. Thank you so much.
All right, I'd like to invite Heather Parsons up to talk to us about her workshop.
Oh boy. Everybody's favorite topic. There were so many great metaphors in the Beowulf story. Wow, I gotta read that now. This will be my fourth time to show up and bring up the deep end. Any topics related to death and dying. We've got a couple hours Wednesday night to just explore and everything from the practical end of dying in Monterey County, what do you need for a green burial, that kind of thing, to the metaphysical, mystical realms of death and the afterlife, the ego, the soul, the higher self, the way that those two come together to give us an awakened, enlightened death, if that's what we want to aim for. I'm aiming now towards that in my life. It's nice. I've got, maybe a decade or so left to love every single moment of being alive, as I'm highly aware of the potential for awakened, enlightened leaving of this body. And there was one image that came up, and it was like, wow, the lifetime of a wave in the ocean. And it does its whole, it exists for its whole moment to like roll up onto the shore. And then it comes back and it gets to surge again for another opportunity to bring itself to the shore. That's kind of what life and death is now for me. I'm seeing it in such a different perspective. So happy to share, happy to have anybody that wants to dive in Wednesday night. Come on, 6 to 8.
I've taken some of Heather's classes, and it's not scary. She presents it in a beautiful way, in a heartfelt way. So, again, that's Wednesday, May 26th from 6 to 8. And some of you remember Dr. Patricia Wolf was here doing a class, and she has kindly decided to do a monthly workshop called Language of the Heart. And that's on Tuesday, June 4th. And these workshops are on the first Tuesday of every month. And it's $25 per class. And we now have the opportunity to join on Zoom. So we're going to give you more details on that. The first one on June 4th, we're not ready for Zoom yet. It'll be the one after that. So come and join us in person. You can purchase your tickets online. And we'll give you more details about coming in and seeing us through the Zoom link if you'd like. She's a wonderful, wonderful teacher about relationships and communication. And again, we're excited. We get to remind you about Reverend Shreya and our spiritual director, Dr. Bill, will present the first of our steps of treatment, and they will present the overview of the 4 steps of treatment and the opportunities to practice. So this is the first of a monthly experience. And the first one starts Wednesday, June 12th, from 6:30 to 8, right here. And treatments will also be offered, and Reverend Shreya will start that off with Dr. Bill. And then the second midweek spiritual tune-up is called Awaken Your Vibration. And that will be with Reverend Nancy here, and she will offer chakra toning, body mudras, and sacred chants and songs. So this is where our ministers get to, on both of these, get to present themselves and do what we are called to do, and that's give back to the community. So we welcome you all to come and to join us. And the one with Nancy is going to be Wednesday, June 26th from 6:30 to 8. So there will be on the second Wednesday and the fourth Wednesday of every month. And we would like to request a minimum donation of $10 suggested. Chanting and meditation is offered from 9:30 to 9:55 in the meditation room every Sunday with Diana Shea O'Brien. And there she is right there. She's a sweetheart. And she's there every Sunday, whether someone's there or not. She's chanting. So come join her. It's a beautiful way to start the service. Dr. Bill will speak next week on June 2nd already. And it's Be Still and Know That I Am God. June 16th? June 16th? It's supposed to be next Sunday. It'll be next Sunday. Yeah. June 2nd. The first Sunday, next Sunday, is when we're doing it. Yeah. And that will be on Be Still and Know That I Am God. So flyers on these and other events are on the foyer out there, so please pick one up and join us. As Reverend Karen mentioned, our metaphysical bookshop, the Mind Shop, is holding a sale over Memorial Day weekend. And it's 5 to 75% off all books, which we have an amazing selection of, and 15% off merchandise. So everything in there, all of Marie's beautiful handmade jewelry, journals, dragons, Kuan Yin's, Lakshmi's, everything is in there. So go in and look and see what touches your heart. Oh, and crystal growing kit. On sale. I thought that was interesting. Yeah. And Reverend Mike Finch was offering energy work and massage here at CSA, and information how to make an appointment can be found in the flyer in the foyer. And you all know Mike because he came up here and he's going to come up here at the end of service. And starting in June, CSA will have office space right next to the Mind Shop available for lease. So it could be the perfect space for anyone in CSA that would like to have their own office, would like to get together with a couple people, have an office, be creative and make up, whatever suits your heart to be able to use that wonderful space in. It's a great opportunity. And if interested, please see Mark Angel or Marianne DiMaggio. As I said, right after service, she will be providing treatment in back. And if you want to fill out a card in the back, I will take those home and do treatment for you. Michael Clark. Wave your hand, Michael. He will be leading the circle group today. And as you know, the circle group, we get together and talk about things that came up, inspired us, get to talk about the talk and kind of get your thoughts together and share with what went on in your feelings. So it's a wonderful, and I say wonderful all the time, it's an extended way to enjoy the service in a deeper way. Newcomers, please see Tommy in the foyer over there, and he will give you a package. And join us for refreshments afterwards. And here comes what we say every month or so. We need sign-ups. Really, 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 really need sign-ups. So if you plan on bringing something, please do. Please sign up, because it lets us know if we've got someone that's going to be bringing food the next week or not. So again, please look at the sign-up sheet and sign up for your...
Is that in the community room?
Yes, in the community room. The sign-up sheet's in the community room.
Below the monitor.
Yeah, thank you. Yep. Okay, we're going to invite Michael, Reverend Mike, back up. And thank you all for being here. Love you all.
So hello everybody. On the first one we sort of cleansed our energy. Now it's just this one's to absorb what we've taken in today. So again, we're gonna have a slight bend in our knees, a little tuck in that pelvis, feel our feet connected to that earth. And we're gonna pull in the positive energy from the earth, the environment, the room, outside the room. Heavens and cosmos, and this time we're just going to let everything we've heard today just fill up our energetic body with positive, nurturing energy, all the way down to our feet. And again, we're going to tap into the earth, the environment, the room, outside the room, heavens, cosmos. This time we're going to let it fill the back of our energy field. Anything positive or nurturing taken in today. And one more time, we're going to tap into the earth, positive energy of the earth, the environment, the heavens, this time coming down to the top of our head, just nurturing our whole body, cellular, energetically. And just letting that energy fill all the way down to our toes. Okay, thank you. I would do the closing song.